The wreckage, the wind, was silent on the dark moon. No trees, no birds, just broken metal, dust, and the ghosts of a forgotten war. The battlefield had been quiet for years now. But something still waited in the wreckage. Commander Rain walked. Slowly, his boots pressing into the cold gray sand. His helmet showed heat signatures, nothing alive. Just dead ships, burnt bodies, and old machines. But Rain wasn't here to fight. He was a scavenger now, looking for anything valuable left behind after the Great War. He stepped into the shadow of a massive alien warship, half buried in the sand. The ship was unlike anything human. Its surface looked like black bone, twisted and sharp. Burn marks covered it, and one of its engines was torn open like a wound. Rain climbed inside through a crack in the hull. His flashlight flickered across strange symbols on the walls. The air smelled like rust and something else, something rotten. His suit scanner beeped softly, traces of life support, weak and failing. He moved deeper. The inside was silent, except for the soft hum of dying machines. Then he heard it, a sound faint, weak, not metal, not wind, a voice. He froze. Slowly, he followed the sound, a soft, broken whisper. It wasn't in English. It wasn't in any human language. But it was a voice. A woman's voice. He stepped into a small chamber and stopped. There she was, an alien woman lying against the wall. Blood, dark blue, stained her suit. Her skin was pale, almost silver. Her face was beautiful but full of pain. She looked up at him, eyes glowing dimly, and tried to speak. Rain knelt down, scanning her. Her body was broken. She had minutes, maybe seconds left, and then he saw it. Her hands were wrapped around something, holding it close. A child. A baby. The baby was wrapped in soft cloth. Eyes closed, breathing quietly. Rain's mind raced. This woman. She wasn't just dying. She was protecting the baby with her last breath. She looked into Rain's eyes. Somehow, he understood her. Not the words, the feeling. Her eyes were begging, pleading. She spoke, and this time he heard the words in his own mind, as if she was pushing the meaning straight into his brain. Please, save my baby. Rain was frozen. A war had destroyed this moon. Millions had died. This ship was supposed to be full of enemies. But this woman, she was just a mother. She coughed, blood spilling from her lips. With a shaking hand, she reached into a pouch and pulled out a small crystal, glowing faintly with green light. She pushed it into Rain's hand and said one more thing. They must not find him. Rain looked down at the baby, then at her. Who? He asked. Who's coming? But it was too late. Her eyes closed. Her breathing stopped. She was gone. Rain stood up, heart pounding. He looked down at the baby. It stirred, made a soft sound like a chime. Not a normal baby's cry. The ship shook suddenly. Rain spun around. Scanners showed movement outside. Drones. Not human. He grabbed the baby, wrapped it tightly, and ran back the way he came. The ship began to fall apart behind him. He jumped out through the same crack, rolling onto the sand. Above him, black drones circled in the sky. He sprinted across the field of wreckage, the baby held close to his chest. His ship wasn't far. Just beyond the rocks, a drone fired. The blast hit near his feet. Rain jumped behind a broken shuttle, breathing hard. Come on, come on. He muttered. He hit a button on his wrist. His ship, a small old cargo vessel, powered up. Engines roared. The side hatch opened. Rain ran for it. Shots fired. One scraped his shoulder. He didn't stop. He dove inside. The door slammed shut. The engines lifted them into the sky. The baby cried. Strange, soft sounds that echoed through the ship's speakers. Rain held him close, heart still racing. It's okay. You're safe now, I think. He sat back, breathing heavy. He looked at the baby again. It had strange marks on its skin, like soft glowing lines. Its eyes opened. They were bright gold. Not human. Rain frowned. What are you? The baby looked at him. Its mouth moved, and then it said something. One word, clear, soft, impossible. Rain. The stars outside Rain's ship were cold and endless, but inside it was silent, too silent. He sat on the floor of his ship holding the child. The engines hummed softly in the background, autopilot taking them away from the dead moon. His shoulder still burned from the drone blast, but he barely noticed it. He stared at the baby in his arms. It had just said his name, not cried it, not made a sound like it, spoken it, clearly, like it knew him. But how? The baby's golden eyes were open now, glowing gently in the dim cabin light. It stared at Rain, not like an infant, but like someone much older, aware, curious, almost ... Searching. Rain gently placed the child in a cradle seat and backed away, heart racing. This doesn't make sense, he muttered. You're just a baby. The ship AI beeped. Commander Rain. Biological scan complete. Infant's DNA is partially human. Rain turned sharply. What? 52% unknown species. 48%. Human male contribution matches Commander Rain. He froze. The room felt colder suddenly. His hands tightened into fists. That's impossible. He had never seen the alien woman before. Never met her species. He had no connection to her. But the AI didn't lie. Rain stepped back to the child. It blinked slowly. He looked down at it, confused and scared. Who are you? He whispered. The baby reached out a hand, touching Rain's arm softly. And suddenly, a vision. Flashes of light. A battlefield. Ships falling from the sky. A lab filled with machines. A tank of blue liquid, and inside it, the baby. Floating. Growing. Then, a woman's face. The same alien mother, crying. Whispering, if he finds you, he will protect you. The vision ended. Rain gasped, stepping back and hitting the wall. Sweat rolled down his neck. That wasn't real. That couldn't be real. But it felt real. Too real. The child sat silently now, eyes still locked on him. Not crying, not smiling. Just watching. Rain stood and walked to the cockpit. He needed answers. He slid the crystal the woman had given him into the ship's data port. The screen flickered. A locked AI file appeared. Glowing green, same color as the crystal. Access denied. Language matrix not recognized. Rain frowned. He opened the ship's translator and began running code-breaking programs. The message was alien, but some pieces matched old war intel. Files. It would take time. He sighed and leaned back. None of this made sense. A dead alien woman, a part human child. A psychic vision, a crystal message. And drones trying to kill them all. Rain wasn't a hero anymore. He was just a scavenger, running from the past. But this baby, it wasn't just a child. It was something more. Something wanted, something hunted. The AI suddenly beeped again. Multiple ships detected. Fast approach. No identification signal. Rain jumped to his feet. The baby stirred in the cradle. He rushed to the cockpit window. Black ships were approaching, fast. Silent. No lights. No sound. Like shadows sliding across the stars. He knew that design. Not alien. Not human military. Private hunters. Bounty. Ships. Someone had put a price on the baby, and they had already found him. He turned back to the cradle. The baby looked calm. Not afraid. As if it expected this. Rain gritted his teeth. Not today. He slammed the control panel. The ship roared, thrusters firing full speed. The ship twisted, diving toward a nearby asteroid field. Blaster fire lit up space behind him. The baby didn't cry. Didn't even blink. Rain shouted over the alarms, "Hold! On, kid!" As the ship weaved between giant rocks, Rain looked back one last time. The baby was glowing. Its eyes, its hands, its skin. Soft golden light pulsed from it, and the crystal inside the data port lit up too. Matching the same rhythm, the locked message on the screen blinked. Part 1 unlocked. A voice played. Not human, not alien, a mix of both. If you are hearing this, then the child has chosen you. The voice echoed in the ship like a whisper through time. If you are hearing this, then the child has chosen you. Rain stood frozen. The message came from nowhere and everywhere. It wasn't just sound. It moved through his head, his chest, his thoughts. The crystal glowed brighter now, pulsing with the same rhythm as the baby's heartbeat. On the screen, alien symbols shifted and morphed into something he could finally read. You are not the peace diving dizin anat the feedin anat the fienduna. Symbols shifted and morphed into something he could finally read. You are not the seedin simbin juordinen. Symbols shifted and morphed into symbols shifted and morphed into something he could finally read. Father by blood, you are the protector by design. Rain's hands tightened on the console. Protector? By design? The ship jolted as a plasma blast scraped past its hull. The bounty hunters were still behind him, chasing through the asteroid field like hungry wolves. But Rain's mind wasn't on them now. It was on the child, the baby, still, glowing. Still calm. Still watching. Rain spun the ship hard to the left, dodging a floating rock the size of a mountain. He turned on the AI comms. AI, mark nearest safe harbor. One that's off the map, the voice responded. There is one. Old science station. Code name, Archive 9. Offline for 12 years. Coordinates locked. Rain nodded. He didn't care. If it was abandoned, he needed answers, real answers. And the only being who might help was someone he had sworn never to see again. The ship punched through the asteroid field. The hunters pulled back. Rain grinned. Cowards don't follow into ghost zones. He looked back at the baby. You're not just a target, are you? He muttered, you're a key. The child blinked, and for just a second, Rain swore he saw something in its eyes. A galaxy. 2 hours later, Rain landed on Archive 9. The station floated above a dead planet, old and rusted. Lights flickered inside, barely alive. The docking bay opened slowly, metal grinding like it hadn't moved in years. Rain carried the baby close, one hand on his sidearm. The station was quiet, cold. He walked through the halls, past broken screens and dusty chairs. Then a voice rang out. Didn't expect you to come back here, Commander. Rain turned. A tall figure stepped out of the shadows, part metal, part machine. A face that once had flesh, now mostly circuits. Hello, Kale, Rain said. Kale had once been human. A war strategist, Rain's ally. But after the Battle of Helion 7, he uploaded most of his mind into the station, became something else. Half AI, half man. Kale looked at the baby. His glowing eyes narrowed. You brought that here? Rain didn't answer. Kale stepped closer. You realize what you're holding, right? That's not a child. That's a trigger. Rain raised an eyebrow. Trigger for what? Kale smiled sadly. The end of everything. Or the beginning of something new. Inside the old lab, Kale placed the crystal into a deep scanner. Lights swirled. The room filled with symbols, maps, and data. This crystal contains a lock, Kale explained. Only one being can unlock it, and that being is growing in your arms. Rain looked down at the baby. Why me? Kale tapped his head. You're not just anyone. You were part of Project Helix, remember? The weapon program that went dark. Rain's stomach turned. That program was shut down. Kale's voice dropped. You think she found you by accident, that alien woman? She wasn't just running from war. She was hiding from us. Rain stepped back. The air felt heavier. Kale continued. The child's DNA, it was designed. Spliced from human, alien, and something older. A third strand. Unrecorded. Ancient. The baby suddenly cried. Not loud, not afraid. But it echoed with energy that the power went out. For 10 seconds, everything went dark. Then, every screen lit up again, but this time showing one word. Chosen. Kale stared at it. That's not from the system, he whispered. Rain looked at the baby, who now floated slightly above the table. No wires, no support. What's happening? Rain asked, his voice low. Kale didn't answer, because at that moment, something terrible happened. Outside the station, a signal burst through space. A beacon. A call dot, and across the stars, something ancient. Woke up. The stars were no longer silent. Something had heard the signal. Something ancient. Something watching. Rain stood at the window of the control room, staring out into the black. Archive 9 floated quietly above the dead planet, but space around them had changed. It was colder now, still. Like the galaxy was holding its breath. Behind him, the baby floated in mid-air. No machines, no support. Just energy, soft and golden, pulsing gently with each heartbeat. Kale's voice broke the silence. The moment he touched that crystal, something old remembered him. Rain turned. You said he was a key. What does he unlock? Kale stared at the glowing child. Not what, who? Rain frowned. What are you saying? Kale's voice dropped to a whisper. He's not just unlocking machines or messages. He's waking up beings, guardians, or maybe gods. Rain took a slow breath. I thought this was just a war secret, some hybrid program. Genetic tech, Kale cut in. No, it's older. The child's third DNA strand. It matches signals found near the edge of the known galaxy. Prehistoric. Beyond all databases. Rain looked back at the child. Then why does he look at me like he knows me? Kale didn't answer. Suddenly, the lights flickered. Alarms buzzed. The ship's AI came to life. Unidentified vessel approaching. No response to hails. Class, heavy dreadnought. Weapons, armed. Kale's expression changed. They found him. Rain picked up the baby, who now looked calm. Not afraid, just quietly glowing as if it expected this. Rain, the AI said, you have less than 5 minutes. Kale's hands flew across the controls. I'll buy you time. There's an escape route in Dock 3. Use the mining tunnels. I'll scramble the signature. Rain hesitated. But Kale shook his head. Don't argue. Protect the child. He's more than we understand. Rain ran, baby held tight. He raced through the old metal halls, lights flashing red, walls shaking from distant impacts. Behind him, Kale turned to face the monitors. The last thing he said before the screen went dark. They'll never get him. Not while I still remember what it means to be human. Rain's ship launched through the hidden exit just as Archive 9 exploded behind him, a silent flash in the void. The dreadnought didn't follow, but Rain knew. Others would. 2 days passed. Rain floated through the empty parts of space, the dark lanes, where no signals were traced and no questions were asked. The baby never cried, never slept. It just watched. And sometimes it spoke. Not with full words, but with images, memories, emotions. Rain would close his eyes and see things, a temple on a faraway world, a circle of lights, voices chanting in languages long forgotten, and always the same message, she's coming. Rain sat in the pilot's seat, whispering to himself, "Who is she?" The baby blinked, and this time answered Dot in a soft, clear voice. "Mother." Rain's blood ran cold. "But your mother died." The baby looked at him, and for the first time, he saw something close to sadness. Not that mother. Rain stared at the child, trying to understand. Then who? The child lifted a small hand and pointed out the window. Rain looked. A strange shape had appeared far ahead, a soft curve of silver in the distance. Not metal, not rock. Like a moon, but alive. It pulsed with light, like it was breathing. The ship scanner failed to identify it. Rain leaned forward. The baby whispered, "She waits there." And then his ship was pulled out, no engines, no control. A soft gravity pulled them toward the object, not violent, just steady. Like a mother's hand pulling a child home, Rain tried everything. Engines, manual overrides. Nothing worked. The baby looked peaceful. Rain wasn't. "Where are you taking us?" he asked, his voice sharp. The baby didn't answer, but the stars outside were shifting now, bending, moving. Space no longer looked normal. And just before the ship crossed into the silver light, the baby spoke again. Soft, gentle, certain. "You will remember." Space bent around them, not like turning a corner, more like falling through time and memory. Rain's ship floated toward the strange silver world, not a planet, not a star, something in between. It pulsed like a heartbeat. It wasn't cold or hot, just alive. And then everything stopped. No sound. No stars. No movement. Only light. A soft white light filled the ship, blinding and gentle at the same time. Rain covered his eyes. His heart pounded. Then a voice, smooth, calm, female, spoke from nowhere. "Welcome, Rain. You've brought him home." Rain spun around. The baby still sat in its seat, glowing faintly, peaceful. "Where are we?" Rain said. "What is this place?" The voice answered, "A memory, a truth, a promise." Rain stepped to the cockpit window. The stars outside were gone. Instead, he saw floating pieces of places. A forest, a lab, a battlefield, a tower in the clouds. All hovering like dream fragments in the void. He turned sharply as a soft hum filled the ship. Light formed behind him, taking shape. A figure stepped out, a woman. Her skin was silver white, glowing faintly. Her long hair floated like it was under water. Her eyes were gold, like the child's. Rain's blood turned cold. It was her. The alien woman. The one he had watched die in the wreckage. "No," he said. "I saw you die. I carried your body. You died." She smiled gently. "I did, but not all of me." Rain backed away. "What does that mean?" She walked forward. No sound, no shadow. She looked not like a ghost, but not alive either. Something in between. "What you saw was my ending. But this is my echo, the part of me left behind." For him, she walked to the child. He reached for her, but only light passed through. Rain stared at them. "Who are you? What is he?" The woman turned slowly. "He is the last child of a broken galaxy. The first of something new." Rain's jaw tightened. "Answer me. I need the truth. Was he made in a lab? Was this some weapon program?" The woman nodded softly. "Yes and no. He was designed by those who feared death, but he was born by those who remembered love." She looked at Rain with something like sorrow. "And you? You were chosen, Rain, not because of blood, because of soul." He stepped back, voice shaking. "I never signed up for this." She walked past him toward the ship's main deck. The walls around them changed, showing scenes from the past. Rain saw himself, younger, in uniform. Cold eyes, giving orders during the war. authorizing the strike on an alien world. He looked away. That wasn't me anymore. The woman touched the image. You created destruction, so now you carry hope. Rain turned. Why me? She looked at the child. Because he cannot survive without a protector, and he chose you. Rain stepped forward slowly. What is he supposed to do? The lights flickered. The woman's voice lowered. He is not just a child. He is a door, a key, a seed, and others will try to use him to open the wrong things. Suddenly the ship shook. The light shattered. Rain stumbled. The scene around him twisted. A deep, dark voice cut through everything, not from outside, but from inside his head. The key has been found. The vault will open. Rain grabbed the child. What is that? The woman's image flickered, glitching. He's coming. The one who created the original experiment. The one who wants to finish it. You must run. Rain shouted over the noise. Where? The baby looked up at him, glowing brighter now. Then, for the first time, it cried. Not a normal cry. It was like music breaking. The ship pulsed with energy. Rain was thrown backward. The woman's voice called out one last time, fading into light. Protect him, or everything ends again. Rain woke up gasping. He was back in normal space. Stars around him. No silver world. No voice. Just silence. The ship was drifting. The child lay in his arms, asleep. Calm again. Rain sat in the cockpit, breathing hard. What the hell is happening? He whispered. A soft sound pinged. Incoming signal .encrypted .unknown. Source. He clicked it open. A simple message appeared on the screen. We know what you're carrying. We're coming for him. You can't run forever. Rain stared at it, and then, slowly he smiled, just a little. Then let's make them chase. The stars were quiet again, too quiet. Rain sat in the dark cockpit of his ship, watching the child sleep. His own face reflected faintly in the window, tired, rough, older than. Before, he hadn't slept in 3 days, not because of fear, because of the question that burned in his mind. What is he really meant to do? Was the child a weapon, or a cure, a doorway to peace, or the end of everything? His thoughts were broken by the sudden voice of the ship's AI. Commander, ancient structure detected. Coordinates match lost site. EOS Relic 1. Believed to be a pre-human vault. Status, unknown. Access, locked. Rain looked at the map. A dead moon. No signal. No one had landed there in over 200 years. He stared at the glowing dot. The baby, now awake, slowly turned its head to look at the screen. Without speaking, without moving, it pointed. Rain nodded. I guess we're going. The landing was rough. The moon was full of ice and shadows. Broken stone towers rose from the surface like teeth. Rain wrapped the baby tight in a thermal sling and stepped onto the frozen ground. Everything felt wrong. The air was heavy. Even with his helmet, and then he saw it, buried under the ice. A massive circular door covered in carvings. Human symbols? Alien runes and something else. Older than both, the baby stirred. And the door responded. Lights came to life. Under the ice, the ground shook. The circle split open. Rain stepped inside, into silence. The inside was not just a chamber. It was a machine. Pillars floated in the air. Walls shifted like water. In the center, a single pedestal. A cradle-shaped socket, the exact size of the child. Rain stepped closer. On the walls, old images flickered. Holograms. History. Wars. Broken planets. Genocide. Then, blueprints. A design. The child's design. Natural. Created. By beings long gone or hiding. A voice, not his, not the AI, echoed through the vault. This seed carries choice. Used with fear, it becomes fire. Used with love, it becomes life. Rain froze. His past came rushing back. His orders, the bombings, the faces of enemies. And alas, the child looked up at him, quiet, waiting. Rain stepped to the pedestal. He hesitated. Was this right? What would happen if he placed the child there? Would the machine heal or destroy? Suddenly, a loud blast shook the vault. Rain turned. Shadows moved at the entrance. Figures armed. The bounty hunters. But not just them. Men in old Earth military suits, black and red. One of them stepped forward, face uncovered, sharp eyes, voice. Like a knife, Commander Rain, step away from the weapon. Rain narrowed his eyes. He's not a weapon. The man raised a gun. Then why does every dead empire want him? Rain didn't answer. He looked at the child and remembered what the woman had said. You were chosen, not by blood, by soul. The baby reached for Rain's face. A small touch. And suddenly, Rain saw. The galaxy. Not broken, not burning, but alive. Green worlds, floating cities. Humans and aliens together. No word. Just peace. The baby smiling. Because someone chose to protect him, not use him. The vision ended. Rain looked at the soldiers. I'm not giving him to you. Guns aimed. The baby glowed. A shield of light burst out, throwing the soldiers back. Rain stepped to the pedestal. Gently, he placed the child into the cradle. Nothing exploded. Nothing screamed. Instead, the machine began to breathe. Soft golden light poured from the walls. The entire vault awakened. And far away, across galaxies, old machines turned back on. Dead planets blinked to life. Ships powered up. Messages sent. The child opened his eyes and said one word. Hope. The vault was alive. Golden light flowed through its walls like blood in veins. Ancient machines moved for the first time in 1,000 years, and in the center lay the child, not crying, not glowing. Just quiet, still. Rain stood over him, hand resting gently on the edge of the cradle. His face was calm, but his eyes held everything. Fear, wonder, love, and something deeper. Purpose. Behind him, the doors to the vault were sealed. But Rain knew they wouldn't stay that way. Above the frozen moon, dozens of ships arrived. Some from Earth, some alien. Some unmarked, silent predators drawn by the energy below. Inside the largest ship, a figure stood. General Sarin, man who started the original human-alien war. Rain's old commander. He stared at the vault scans with cold eyes. The child has activated the key. Begin descent. He's not a myth. He's a weapon. And we're going to take him back. Back in the vault, Rain stared at the child. Are you really just a child? He whispered. As if answering, the baby opened its eyes. But this time, it wasn't like before. Rain saw stars inside them. Moving. Living. And then he heard her voice again. Soft, distant, and final. You saved him, Rain. Now he must save them. Rain turned to see her. The woman, not glowing. Not floating, just standing there, like before. But this time, she looked real, more real than she ever had. She walked to Rain. Her voice was low, warm, human. You did what no soldier, number scientist, no empire could. You loved what you were told to fear. She placed a hand on his shoulder. Now he needs one last gift. Rain looked confused. What? She looked down at the child. He needs someone to guide him, not just protect him. Someone willing to give everything so he can become what he was meant to be. Rain looked down at the baby. Then up at her. He already knew what she meant. Me. Outside, the vault shook. Blasts hit the surface. Troops landed. Time was running out. Rain picked up the child. Is this how it ends? The woman smiled. No, Rain. This is how it begins. The vault's central column opened. Inside, a glowing core, pulsing with the same energy as the child's heart. Rain walked forward step by step. Then he turned, holding the baby close one last time. You're not a weapon, he whispered. You're a future, and you'll be better than we were. He placed the child in the core. Light rose around them like fire, but it didn't burn. It healed. The baby looked at him, wide-eyed. Then it smiled, a small, pure smile, like sunlight after a storm. Rain smiled back, tears on his cheeks, and then he stepped into the light with him. Above the moon, the ship saw it happen. A blinding column of golden energy burst from the vault, stretching into the sky. Weapons shut down. Engines failed. Every soldier stopped. Watched. And listened. A message echoed through every ship, every planet, every network, human, alien, machine. This is not the end. This is the restart. The child lives. The war ends, years later, on a peaceful world filled with forests and light. A child with golden eyes runs across the grass. He stops at a statue, a tall figure, holding a small child. An old man nearby watches him. The child points. Who is that? The man smiles. That was the one who saved us all. He didn't fire a weapon. He didn't lead an army. He just made a promise. And kept it? The child looks up at the sky. Silent, beautiful, free.